And the Supreme Court is the one that is in variance with a lot of academic perspectives on the Constitution. No? Ang sinasabi, so just to be clear, ito ang perspective ng Supreme Court para maging fair ako. Ang sinasabi ng Supreme Court, even the impeachment proceeding in the House by initiating a complaint, no, the filing, the referral, and kahit yung 1/3, pag sinign yan or in-endorse ng representatives, must contain due process. However, let's qualify kasi hindi qualify sobra ng Supreme Court yung due process na sinasabi niya. Ang due process that the Supreme Court was talking about is adversarial. There is no just one type of due process. No, even around the world, you can see this other type. The other type is called inquisitorial due process. No? So one hand, we have adversarial. Second, we have inquisitorial. Ano yung adversarial? Yun yung alam ng nakakaramihan. No? Sa courts, sa trial, there's an adversarial due process there because you have the prosecutor, you have the defense or the private defense lawyer of the criminal accused. Magpapalitan sila ng ebidensya, magre-rebut, magka-counter, magko-cross-examine, and it's the judge who will decide sino mas nakakapaniwala. That's adversarial. Ano yung inquisitorial, no? So there are other jurisdictions in the world that follow an inquisitorial due process when it comes to filing of cases. Wag muna natin pag-usapan yung impeachment. Pag nagpa-file ng cases, ang inquisitorial due process, ang gagawin niya, may inquisitor, usually like a state attorney general, who would invite many resource persons or subpoena people and ask them, talagang gather information, inquisitorial, mag-i-inquire. So what is the relevance here sa Constitution? If you look at the design of Article 11, dividing the power to initiate impeachment sa House, nilagay sole power, and sole power to try cases of impeachment sa Senate, makikita natin na the adversarial due process that the Supreme Court wanted the House to follow is not given with the House. It is given with the Senate. Yung adversarial process na makapag-rebut, makapag-answer, si Vice President Sara Duterte should be in the trial. Now, can the House afford an adversarial due process? Yes, it can if it wanted to. But the species nga na 1/3, pag final and sinign and in-endorse na yung 1/3, wala na diyang adversarial due process. Ang nangyayari dyan, inquisitorial due process, which is by fact-finding and determination of the representatives which represent the vote of the people, the will of the people on a local level. Pag sila nag-inquire na, okay, sa akin, may basis to charge a case against a certain impeachable official and refer it to the Senate for trial, that is inquisitorial due process. So with all due respect to the Supreme Court, when they invoke due process, I don't really think there was a disregard of due process sa House of Representatives because the concept of due process is multidimensional. Nasa Senate yung gusto ng Supreme Court, which is adversarial. And eto before you have questions, so you remember the order of the Supreme Court asking a lot of factual questions sa House, whether or not they read it, whether or not they circulated it properly with all the attachments attached, etc. And Justice Carpio, and I think Congressman De Lima, they said no, that was judicial overreach because, for example, you don't ask the Supreme Court justices if they read the decisions that they signed their names on. So sabi ni Justice Carpio, it's courtesy and separation of powers na if the congressmen sign and endorse an impeachment complaint, you don't really ask na, did you read it? Did you check the evidence? How much time did you have to do that? No? What am I pointing out here? If you look at the Supreme Court decision na prohibiting the impeachment trial from continuing, it said it imposed a lot of other procedural nitty-gritties on the House, which is a form of judicial overreach. Parang mina-micromanage na ng Supreme Court how the House of Representatives should initiate an impeachment case, which the Constitution said sole power to initiate is with the House. Now, of course, grant again, the Supreme Court can check all government agencies kung may grave abuse of discretion. Pero that is why merong separation of powers na ina-outline ng Constitution, eto sa'yo. Kapag klaro na ang isang power ay nasa isang chamber or nasa isang branch, there should be judicial restraint and there should be judicial humility na wag natin pakialaman kasi ang dami nating ini-impose sila naman ang may power to impose or regulate their own rules and guidelines. So, with all due respect to the Supreme Court, madami silang nilagay sa Constitution. In effect, inamend nila yung Constitution. Walang sinabing procedure yung Constitution, pero sabi ng Supreme Court, hindi, kailangan idagdag ito.
Okay.
All right. Well, we thank you for your lengthy explanation and salamat po na nabasa nyo na yung decision and you had to comment. But pwede ba yung EMR kasi unanimous na yung decision?
I don't think it's advisable to move for reconsideration kasi very unlikely na given the voting na wala man lang dissent. Although we have to note si Justice Caguioa was inhibited, no? Hindi siya nag take part in the decision, no? But if the decision is unanimous, it's unlikely they will reverse it. So actually, this is not from a legal angle anymore. Politically, it will all depend now on the Senate because there are already senators who said they might vote to still continue the trial despite the Supreme Court decision. As a lawyer, of course, there are many perspectives on that, and I don't really advise pushing the country into a constitutional crisis. But it is within the Supreme Court's power, I think, to with the sole power to try all cases. If they do decide to continue, ang question kasi dyan politically, no, Paul-sign na to, hindi na to law. Ang tanong, what can the Supreme Court do if the Senate decides to continue? That's the question.
All right. Well, we thank you so much for both your legal and political insights, Attorney Jesus Falsis.